Hey, my name is Ryan, and today I'm going over what soles you should get for your shoes. I'm going to tell you about my experience with all of these soles, and in the end, I'll tell you what my favorite one is. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the video. Before we do a deep dive into each one of these soles and I tell you my likes and dislikes of each one, I want to tell you a little bit of my experience with these soles and with boots in general. My first experience is I was a union carpenter, and so for that we would just buy whatever steel-toed shoe we can get, usually a Timberland Pro or something like that. And then I transitioned into running my own shop, having my own company, building custom furniture. That was working on a shop floor. And then now I'm in the corporate world. I work behind a desk. I traverse only an office. Sometimes I go to a job site, so I have to look like I'm a construction worker, but most of the time I'm just behind the desk. That is where I'm coming from with my experience with these different soles. You'll have a different experience with them, so please comment your experiences with these soles. And hopefully, if you're new to boot buying or Goodyear welted shoes where you have all these different options, by the end of this, you'll have a better idea what you should be looking at. And also look in the comments because there'll be some help there too, I'm sure, because a lot of my subscribers are very knowledgeable when it comes to this topic. Let's dive in and see what you should get. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Lug Sole. Now I know this is a pretty low profile and there's a lot of different Lug Soles that you can get, but we're just going to generalize this into the Lug Sole. This is a Vibram Lug Sole and a heel. What you're going to want with this, you're thinking if I'm going to be hiking or if I'm going to be treading snow, this is what I need. I need a grippy love sole, and that is pretty much true. Now with the Lug Sole, you may think, oh, if I hit ice, I'm just going to grip right into this sole, and that's not true. If you hit ice, basically anything you have, even if it has a ton of traction, it's going to slip. You know, think of a Lug Sole as a car tire that's really grippy. It's going to do great off-roading. It's going to do great in loose dirt, going over branches, stuff like that. But if you're going to hit ice, there's just nothing you can do. You're just going to try to stop yourself from going down too embarrassingly. The Lug Sole is really, it's a nice looking sole. This is a smaller Lug Sole. But on other boots, you know, you have taller lugs. The only thing I'll say about the taller lug soles is that some of the manufacturers, for instance, my Allen Edmonds Freeport boots that I made a video on, you can check that out. It's like everything gets stuck in those lugs and it absolutely drives me crazy. What will happen is a rock will get stuck in the lug and then I'll be walking and then I'll be grinding that rock, which is like nails on a chalkboard for me. So I have to pop it out with a twig or something on a hike. And I end up having to do it like 15 times in a 5-mile hike. It drives me crazy. So I do not like the tall lug soles. That's just my opinion. I do like this size lug sole because nothing gets caught in them and you still get plenty of grip. So if you are someone who wants a little extra grip for hiking, then you should be getting a lug sole. If you want something for ice, don't think this is going to stop you from falling down in ice. But that's my opinion on the Lug Sole. Next, let's talk about the Daynight Style sole. So Daynight Style, why I say that is because of Daynight came up with this studded sole design, and a lot of companies have their proprietary version. So this is a Grant Stone Ottawa boot, and Grant Stone with their diesels, with a lot of their boots, have this proprietary studded sole. So it works just like Daynight. Also, my Thursday boots had their own proprietary sole like this. And from what I can see, there's going to be different compounds in the rubbers, different recipes, so to speak. They perform about the same. This has great traction, especially for me on carpet. So again, just like the Lug Sole on ice, you're gonna slide on this. Rain, they don't do great with too. They're gonna slide too. But this is if you're doing just normal walking, normal traversing the office building type work. On carpet, this has great traction for that. It has great traction for most things you're going to need, and then it just looks super clean. It's a dressier sole to me. So I have had Daynight soles on my Allen Edmonds shoes, on more dressier shoes, and that's where it really looks good. It's a very low profile sole. You can barely even see it, but then you have a ton of grip on carpet, on concrete, you know, normal everyday stuff. In my opinion, this is kind of one of the better all-around soles, because it doesn't look super commando, military inspired. It looks nice and sleek, but you're going to get a lot of grip. And depending on which company you buy with their proprietary studded sole, you know, they're gonna last, right? So this Grant Stone one is lasting like really well. It's very soft, but it's wearing like steel. So I highly recommend this boot. I think I've made a video about it already, so hopefully you've seen that. This one is going to give you an all-around good experience. It's, you know, it doesn't breathe or anything like that because it is, you know, fully synthetic, but a very nice sole. And I'm saying this about any type of studded sole that was originally inspired by Daynight and Daynight. They're all just great soles and one of the best all-around soles that you can buy. I feel like with every shoe that I do, I'm gonna say this is one of my favorites, and that's because if I have the shoe, it's because I love the shoe and I love the soles, and if I don't, I get rid of it, I sell it. So this is a super popular option, and this is the Vibram Christi Wedge Sole. And again, lots of different companies make a proprietary version of this sole. Where this sole really shines is in its comfort. If you're getting into boots from sneakers, right? It's like you wear your sneakers and then you want to buy boots. This is like the best gateway into it because first of all, it kind of gives you the sneaker look. You know, usually you get in this white or cream Vibram Christi and it gives you that nice sneaker-like look, but also it's just so cushiony. It's nice to break in your first pair of boots with this Vibram sole. For me, when I transitioned into a shop where I was standing on concrete all day and working in front of table saws and woodworking tools and where you'd have to be stationary, you know, I'd have thick foam pads that you would put in a shop, but this is the sole that I would recommend. If you're standing all day, this is gonna give you the best shot of having true comfort. It's just such a nice sole. Nothing gets caught up in these soles. They look great. I personally love the look of a wedge sole. Some people hate it. And it's just, you know, it's gonna be, you either love it or you hate it and you'll have to determine, but I love that look. It gives you way more of a casual vibe, unlike the studded sole that we talked about, that can be dressed up a little bit depending on your boot, right? I mean, even you can have a dress shoe with that sole. With this is not a dressed up sole. This is a casual sole. This is a sole, you know, some people are gonna think you're coming from the job site if you're wearing this sole out and about, but I mean, just a great sole for everyday use. Again, I want to reiterate, like on ice, this is not gonna catch you. Most soles won't, but on, you know, nice light hikes, this sole will do fine. It's got good traction for like 95% of the hikes you're gonna be doing. Now, if you're, you know, climbing mountains and stuff, of course, you have special shoes for that. But this sole is going to be a great sole, especially for the beginner getting into this. One thing I love about the wedge sole also is how easy it is to resole. Most wedge soled shoes that are Goodyear welted will have a midsole. So what that allows is once this wear, because it does wear pretty quickly, you can just peel off the old sole and without having to do any stitching, the cobbler can put on a new wedge sole and then they just sand it to the welt and you're good to go for a while. So love wedge soles, super comfortable, super easy to break in, look, you know, casual, give you kind of a sneaker vibe with your shoes. Now, while we're talking about wedge soles, I want to go to an alternative for a wedge sole when it comes to comfort, and that is the natural cork rubber sole. So made famous with the Clark's boots, but I believe Alden has some cork rubber. This isn't the most common sole that you'll see around with Goodyear welted boots, but it is out there, so I do want to talk about this. Natural cork rubber is an extremely soft and cushy sole, makes it for a really comfortable boot right out of the box, but it gets disgusting after only a few wears. I'm telling you, this boot right here, if I wear this into the office and cross my legs, I just feel the judgment coming from my coworkers, and I'm just, you know, over exaggerating, of course, but it just looks so terrible. Like, this isn't a ton of wear, and it looks like it's been through, you know, hiking through glaciers and volcanoes. I mean, this looks so bad, and then it creeps up the side. It just looks so dirty. I don't use this boot a lot because of this. Once it kind of turned and got dark, I don't know, I went through a rainstorm and it just really dramatically changed for how ugly it was. I just kind of stopped using it. Really, it's probably time to just trash these or sell them for 10 bucks or give them to Goodwill. But just, that's my thing. It's comfortable, yeah, but it is gets ugly real quick. Now there are darker crepe soles. I think Alden might use that. And for that, I think it looks a lot better. A darker crepe sole. And if you're just using it for office work or for something on carpet, it won't get like this very quickly. But I mean, as soon as you start going out in the rain, you start going out and walking on sidewalks, pavement, it's just going to get ugly so quickly. But I do like the darker compound. One thing that kind of drives me crazy is how it breaks away too. It's just like, it's always falling apart, which is, you know, that's just how it is, but that's how it breaks away. So kind of an ugly sole. Don't recommend it a ton, but if you want something super cushy, this might be for you. Basically the polar opposite, but still being a natural sole is a full leather sole. So I have the most experience with leather soles because I am from California and we don't get rain or snow, or at least we didn't for the times that I started getting into shoes. And I really used dress shoes. I use dress shoes more, and I'm just getting into boots because I like them as more of a hobby, but I actually don't need a boot for anything really, besides a couple of odds and ends. But so I love a leather sole boot. Now, a leather sole is going to give you that full leather feel. So like with Allen Edmonds, like with this Diesel boot, I highly recommend this Diesel boot. If you haven't seen the video, check it out. But you have a leather insole, leather midsole, and cork between those two, and then a leather sole. So it is so many natural materials underneath your feet. It breathes so nicely. It just really is such a nice sole. It's the sleekest, right? So you can not really dress this boot up because of the chunky eyelets, but you can go business casual, kind of an elevated casual. The leather sole looks amazing. It's just such a nice looking sole. And then it is, you know, stitched on, gives you that classic look and feel. I love it. I love a leather sole. There's nothing like a leather insole, cork filler, and a leather outsole to me. It's just this cool, feels like you're stepping back in time when you're walking, feel and vibe. So I love the leather soles, but they're not perfect. There's a lot of things that aren't great about leather soles. They're slippery as all get out. So with carpet, oh my goodness. So people talk about, you know, oh, you always need a rubber sole for a boot. And that's not true. But with carpet, oh my, if you're going up a carpet stair, I've almost gone down. And believe it or not, just this little bit of rubber has saved me sometimes, because you lose grip and that catches you. But on carpeted stairs, leather is brutal. Now, if it's just, you know, normal carpet, that's fine. If it's your office, you're not going to be sliding around. But if you have any carpeted stairs, I would highly recommend not using leather soles. Actually, the first pair of Allen Edmonds shoes that I bought from my dad, I wanted him to experience the leather soles, but his house has a carpeted staircase. So I actually got a sole cover, right? Or like a Vibram style sole topper. It's just because I don't want to be the one that caused my dad to fall down the stairs. That would make me feel terrible, of course. So I love the leather sole. It's a little bit slippery. A new slippery surface that I found this week while wearing these shoes was that Trex decking. So, you know, the new style decking that's like a composite material, getting rid of like the real redwood decking. They go with the Trex, last forever, I guess. This thing slides on that. I mean, it's like ice skates on that decking, and I'm not even talking like a wet deck or anything, just a completely dry deck. So keep that in mind if you have a big deck and you're going to be, or it's like your entryway into your house. This thing, it will slide around. But I do love the leather sole. I think they have their place. I think they're gorgeous. I think they're the best feeling, the best breathing, but not the best when it comes to, you know, staying upright, which is important. But I will say, if you're walking on concrete and stuff, these have tons of stability. It's not like you're just going to be ice skating on everything you walk on. So concrete, you'll be fine. Sidewalks, you're fine. Any type of pavement, you're fine. It's just, you know, a couple of times you're going to see these aren't the greatest with carpeted stairs or a slick floor. But really, really good sole to have in your arsenal. But don't try to run up the stairs with them. One of the downsides to this sole, and it's a weird downside, but it is a downside, is how loud they are. Oh my goodness, I went to a department store the other day with these boots, and I felt like a Clydesdale going through the department store because of how loud the leather sole is. So if you're trying to be stealth or you're trying to be like a ninja and sneak around somewhere, this is definitely not the sole for you. That Daynight style rubber sole would be a lot quieter. And I mean, I know you're not even thinking about that because that's not something we normally think about, but for instance, if you get ready for work while your family's sleeping and you have hardwood floors, I mean, you're gonna wanna wait till you get outside to put this on. You'll be clanking around your house, getting ready, waking everybody up. So that's just one thing to note, that it is a little bit louder, or it's quite a bit louder than the other soles. The last one I'm going to talk about today is the Mini Lug. So I've had this sole a lot. I've had 3 pairs of Iron Rangers, the actual Vibram Mini Lug sole, and then this is a pair of the Lewis Jet service boots, and it has like their proprietary, or more of like a knockoff of the Mini Lug sole. But I do have a lot of experience with this sole. It is a nice sole. To me, I don't see a big difference between this sole and the Daynight style. They tend to be a little bit thicker, so a little bit less dressy than the Daynight style, but I mean, you're getting the same type of sole. You're getting a rubber sole that's mostly flat, that has protrusions that will help you get a little bit more grip. So I do like the sole. It's nothing offensive. The Mini Lugs are small enough where stuff usually doesn't get caught in them. But if you're looking at a Red Wing Iron Ranger, you're going to be looking at this sole, and it's a fine sole. I personally, now that we're talking about that, with Red Wing, with their old soles, their Cork soles, I like those better. I had 1 pair of Red Wings like that back in the day, and this is just a little bit more, I don't know, it's more of a synthetic feel when you're walking around, which is okay. But the Red Wing is still going to wear nice. It gives you a little protection from the stitch line too, so makes your stitches last a little bit longer. But a good overall sole. It's not going to be the dressiest sole in my opinion, but you can put it on a semi-dress boot like this one, and it will look good because you do not see any of those lugs, but you have a little bit more grip. But to me, really, this is interchangeable with the Daynight style. That's just my opinion. If you know of anything where this exceeds the Daynight style, or the Daynight style exceeds this, let me know in the comments. But this is my last one, and that's what I think about soles. So now let me tell you about my personal favorite, what I think is hands down the best sole that there is. So what's my personal favorite? Well, it's the leather sole. Again, I wear more dress shoes than I do boots. I love the feeling of having all the leather underneath your foot. I love the natural feeling of walking around in it. I'm okay. I'm young enough so I can usually catch myself if I go down, if I slip. But I do love this leather sole. Grand Stone makes a great leather sole. I know Oak Street makes a leather sole shoe or boot. Allen Edmonds does. But yeah, just a great sole. I love the feeling. I will always have more leather soled shoes in my wardrobe than any of the other ones. So that is my opinion. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys and gals watching. So please like and subscribe if you can, and comment below. I try to get back to the comments. I'm not always able to get back to all the comments, but comment below if you have a question. I'll try my hardest. So thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.